Alright, well that's 6 in a row from 7 feet. And I'm using a new putting stroke. This putting stroke doesn't have a pendulum. I got a list here, as a matter of fact. There's the rules. There's no arm-shoulder triangle. You don't have an arm-shoulder triangle. You don't move your shoulders. There's no axis. In the putting stroke today, people are using this arm-shoulder pendulum. The axis is somewhere in here. The shoulders are turning. You hold on to the putter. The putter is moving in an arc. It's opening and it's lifting off the ground. This putting stroke doesn't move in an arc. It doesn't lift off the ground. And it doesn't open. It closes. Putting stroke actually closes the face on the backswing and opens it up through the forward swing. In other words, it keeps it square. There's no shoulder turn. You don't use your shoulders. You don't move your shoulders. You don't move your right shoulder under. This right shoulder under causes a lot of hitting and skidding in the ball. Basically, this is an arm stroke with a pretty firm grip. You move your arms straight back and straight forward. They move out away from you slightly, and then they pull back. This keeps the putter moving in a straight line because, after all, the line in front of you here is away from your body back here. If I stand here with this putter and I move my arm back this way, my arm is extending away from my body. This line is parallel to my body. If you move the putter inside this line, then you're coming outward on the downswing. This can cause you to do several things. You can either hit the ball to the right, you can close the face too soon, hit it to the left, or you can come in exactly perfect and hit it down the line. That's hard to master. In fact, it's impossible. The pendulum stroke was never meant to be a putting stroke. The pendulum stroke, or swing, is meant to be used in conjunction with the body. When you turn your shoulders back, you want to turn the body forward. There is no body movement in this putter, this putting stroke. The putter moves down and away from the body on the backstroke, not up and in. The putter moves down. If the putter is this elevation here, it's actually lower on the backswing. It moves up. You get acceleration through the ball, not a downward bottom of the swing that you have to worry about your hands where they are. This keeps the hands in the same position. If you accelerate from here, the hands will basically stay in the same position, because once you're moving something, Newton's law takes over. Nothing will knock it offline unless you make something happen to knock it offline. There's no undermove in this putting stroke. Especially the right shoulder stays absolutely still. This arm goes down and away and comes back up during this putting stroke. You can move your head. So you can move your head and watch the ball down the line. Your head's got nothing to do with your putting stroke. In fact, it's nice to look at the ball right before you're coming into impact and watch where you want it to go. And you have an advantage by looking at this ball. When you stare down here and watch the spot where the ball was, you have no idea where this ball's going. It could go anywhere. When you watch the ball, you get a precursor as to where you want your hands to make this, where you want your stroke rather, to make this ball go. This is an improvement in putting. It's very consistent. If you learn to make this stroke correctly, you don't have to make a big backswing. You can make a very short backswing, so to speak, a stroke, and they accelerate through the ball. All that's necessary is that the ball be struck with the putter, and that's it. You don't have to go through the ball. Going through the ball tends to shove the ball. It makes it skid. What this does, I take the loft off the putter, and as I'm coming into the ball, I go up. It causes the ball to lift slightly off the ground, but not jump. So it lifts and rolls at the same time. It's got overspin and lift. It gives it a pure roll, much like a ball coming off of a snip meter. They don't use putters to measure the speed of green because they don't want any skid. So if you can get rid of skid and you can get rid of the inconsistency of the face having to be closing through impact, and if you can get rid of the body movement tendency that has to happen when you use your shoulders, and if you can get rid of the wrist hit, you've got a better chance of making putts. I just made 6 6-footers in a row. These aren't the greatest greens in the world. And I've taught this stroke to several pros, and they had an immediate improvement. Immediate. The ball just rolls pure right off the putter face. Now there's several factors to making putts, of course. The line and the speed. The third factor is the stroke, the method you're using to get the ball to roll. What difference does it make if this looks different? I've had guys say to me, well, I can't do this. This is too strange looking. Is this strange looking? This is strange looking. This is strange looking. Strange looking doesn't matter. Now you can use any kind of grip you want as long as the hands are together on the putter. You can use a low left hand, which is a cross hand used to be called, or a conventional grip. I don't recommend you use the claw grip with this because the putter has to move down and this wrist is not in position to make this move down. What happens is I stand perfectly still, relaxed. My legs are relaxed. The front of my body is relaxed. My chest, pecs, arms, shoulders. The only thing is firm is my hands. My hands are holding the club nice and firm. You don't want the putter to be knocked off line. If you've got your hands on line and you move your arms straight back and forward and you make a stroke, accelerate the stroke, it's not a dead swing. A pendulum swing is a dead swing. It has to be dropped in order for it to remain pure. If you put any force on this pendulum, you're going to knock the axis off, or you're going to change something in between the shoulders and the putter. Usually that's the hands. That's the weakest link. You can keep your elbows, your arms pretty firm, you can keep your shoulders pretty firm, but this right here is the killer. And in a pendulum swing, when you're swinging in a pendulum, you have loading up of the hands. The putter has weight. So as it goes back, and you have to reverse, the right wrist will cock. You have an athletic instinct to want to just hit the ball with your body at that time, but no, you can't do that. You've got to come down and turn around and have the putter in the perfect position. This is impossible to master. Sometimes you can be really good at it for a day or so, or a week, but then it goes away. This putting stroke is the end of the yips. You don't have the yips with this stroke because there's no impact. You're not hitting the ball. You're stroking the putter in one solid piece all the way through. So there's no hit. There's no bottom of the swing hit. And that's going to improve your putting a great deal. I'll make a few strokes showing you in the traditional putting stroke. You'll see the arms turn. The forearms will wobble through the shot. This putting stroke keeps the forearms straight. There's no wobbling. The arms stay in one plane. They go across the ball. You accelerate up. Your speed is consistent because you're accelerating. When you accelerate, you can keep your speed consistent. When you're decelerating, you can't. The ball has no end speed. Another advantage of this is that when the ball is struck with no loft in the middle of the ball, or even when you come in slightly de-lofted with an upward sweep, you're imparting true overspin energy to the ball. The ball has more end roll, and the end roll is the key to why the ball goes in the hole. A lot of times you'll see a good putt on its way and it dies off. That's because when the ball was first struck, there was skid. It took the speed off the ball, took the energy out of the ball. The ball's no longer rolling over in a pure axis, or vertical axis. There's no energy left in the ball, so it's just going to go and then it'll die. It dies close to your target. This ball keeps rolling. It has, at the end of a 10, 12-foot putt, it's got more energy to keep on line. And that's the key, is that once you've established what your line is that you give yourself a chance for that ball to crawl on that line, stay on that line. Just like a telemarketer stays on his line. This ball stays on line like a telemarketer. And you can use any kind of putting stroke. You can use a stand-up putting stroke like Greg Norman, Tiger Woods. You can use a cross-handed putting stroke like Jim Furyk. It works better sometimes. You can use a Jack Nicklaus crouch because you're only using your arms. You keep the ball low, keep the putter low on the backswing, raise it up through the ball. And ideally, this is the only way to keep the putter on line. If you lift the putter and try to go low through the ball, you're causing this to happen. You got to shove through the ball. If you keep the putter low on the backswing and low on the forward swing, you can't do that. Up and down and up is a pendulum stroke that's inconsistent. Down, up is the only way to keep the putter on the line all the way through. And the line continues on up through the putt. It takes off like an airplane. As long as you have your hands on line, this stroke will remain true. Let me putt back to you. I just putted 3 balls about 25 feet to the right leg of this tripod. 2 of them hit the tripod and the other one went right by it. And they all ended up within 6 or 8 inches of one another. I've worked with this putting stroke for more than 10 years. And I believe that this is the putting stroke of the future. There really isn't any alternative. There's no other way to putt. You can put 2 grips on a putter and you couldn't putt as good as this. This isn't going to work for everybody. This is a pendulum stroke. Whenever you have a pendulum stroke, you're going to reach the bottom of the swing. The putter has a tendency to do weird things. It can open up like this. It can stay closed and hit down on the ball. It cannot be in a square position either way, closed or open. Speed is a concern because you're not getting a pure roll off the putter. What happens in this putting stroke is your arms become part of the putter and your arms make the stroke. you feel the stroke in your arms. You don't feel a stroke in the putter head. And it makes for much more consistent roll, line, speed. All right, that was the crouch down. It's like a Nicklaus style putting stroke. You can see I just made 6 in a row. Easy stroke. The important thing to remember on this stroke is there's no hitting the ball. You don't take all this stuff back together, locked in, come down and hit the ball. This releases the tension in the hitting zone, because what's happening is the arms are just moving like a typewriter carriage. This triangle right here doesn't stay, doesn't tilt, and that's the secret to a good putting stroke. You don't want to tilt. This is modeled after a swing, an actual swing, and by keeping the putter level, by keeping your swing level without tilting, you're able to bring the putter back to its original position by stroking, not by swinging from an up position to a down position. Now I'm going to make a few long putts. Longer putts over to that next hole. Okay, so it breaks a little left. I got to aim a little right. Haven't practiced this putt. Boy, that was close. Okay, let me try a few more here. This green is a little slow. So I'm going to take dead aim at the right edge. That's perfect. Nice free. Take dead aim at the right edge. There's another one. Perfect. Once you've got dead aim, don't think about anything except the stroke. All right, 3 in a row. Once I know the break, and I've got my hands and putter head locked in line, all I think about is making a nice smooth stroke with the correct speed. What this does, it gives you a bullseye effect. You can actually putt this ball exactly where you're aimed. And the reason, many reasons for this. One of the reasons is this right here doesn't really flinch. There's no flinch. There's no hitting the ball. I'm carrying the putter back and forward. My hands are very static. Pretty firm grip. I'm gripping this club because I don't want the weight of the club to start influencing or taking over the putting stroke. I always want to be in control with my arms. And right at impact, I don't stop and hit the ball. This wrist doesn't go this way. The advantage of this stroke is this wrist starts in a cocked position, it goes back, and it ends up in a more cocked position, so it never uncocks through the stroke. Now, I want to show you a couple more putting styles. Cross-handed, for example. Let me adjust the camera for you. Now, I used to putt cross-handed a lot. I haven't done it in years. Same principle. Take your aim, make your putter, stay on line. Use the same basic stroke. You're moving the putter down and back up again. There's no hit. It's a wispy feeling. 3 in a row. The cross-handed putting stroke. You manually set the club down slightly in front of you again. So this arm's over this way. Your left hand on. I start the putting stroke by dropping this left arm. The right arm and hand does nothing in the swing. There's no hitting with the right hand. All it does is maintain control of the putter when you're making this stroke. Down, up. And you can see this elbow goes right back up here. Works mainly in a straight line. Now, I'm a right-handed player, but I batted left-handed when I was a kid. Actually, I played left-handed for a while, and I can putt left-handed. This stroke here, same basic idea. Putter goes down, up. If you just move in a straight line, the putter will stay square. If you try to make a circle, if you try to hold the putter in close to your body, or hold this triangle in one piece, the putter goes in a circle. And what happens is it goes in a circle, it opens up and it closes right here. This way, it stays square. Now I'll show you the more conventional style that players are using today, which is they're standing up, eyes over the ball, chin up, and they're making a pendulum stroke. But I'll make my stroke with this stance. Again, I want to feel like I'm locked on line. Once I until I'm locked on line. I make a stroke. The stroke is going to go out away and back in. I don't want to force this thing inside. So I trust the idea that it's out away, back in. And you can see that even with a tall stance, conventional setup, eyes over the line, I'm getting a pure putting stroke. When you're standing up square to the ball, you have to realize that if you take your right arm and just extend the putter back, the putter's still square, my arm's extended away from me. Now if I drag it back on, I'm on line, putter comes back up, hits the ball. When you have an extremely long putt, this putting stroke is more or less designed for putts that you know that you can make an acceleration through the ball, keep the putter low, smooth, and you can get the ball to the hole. When you have a putt that's 40, 50, 60 feet, you're really into chipping area. If the ball was off the green, you'd chip this thing, you wouldn't putt it. And then you more or less want to use a pendulum type stroke. Now, I can still use a pendulum stroke, and I can come back to impact and do that. That more or less freezes me out from closing over the putter. I bring this left arm back in here, it gets right back to here and goes up. Ideally, really, there's no place else for the left arm to go except back in toward you. The reason is that the right arm, the right hand, wants to go down the line since it's lower on the club. If the left hand goes out toward the hole, the right hand never has a chance to bring the putter back in on line. It blocks the right hand from hitting the ball or from coming through the putt. So the way I understand this is, and the way I've figured it out, is that the left hand's the big problem in putting. If you don't get the left hand out of the way, the left hand can block your putts to the right. Most players don't release the club, turn it over, so to speak, close the face. They're trying to keep things pretty firm. And so by bringing this left hand through the putt, your swing's coming from the inside. As it comes in here, if the left hand is in control, it's going to keep on going out, so it leaves the face open slightly. Ball gets out to the right, never has a chance to go in the hole. The way this putting stroke works is on, and that's why I would say most pros, most good putters are substantially better when they have a right to left putt. They feel more comfortable because they have a tendency to hit the ball out to the right a little bit anyway, and it feels better coming through the ball. When they have a left to right putt, that's where this putting stroke really helps, because this putting stroke is moving the arm out away from you and pulling it back towards you. It's a push-pull. And so the hands are actually moving. Here's my hands here. My hands are here. If I move out and back, the hands come right back to the same position. And then up. And that follows the line that you're trying to putt on. The line you're trying to putt on, again, goes away from you back here. It comes back here. The putter goes up. So let's try. I'll give you a few shots from this side, and so you'll be able to see how the arms stay straight. So again, we're talking about maintaining a line behind the ball. And again, if I take my putter and I just move my right arm straight out, now that black line is still on the line where the putter should come back into the ball. If I don't do that, I'm going to go inside. If I take a pendulum type stroke, I'm going to go inside. Now there's all kinds of devices here that try to keep you swinging the putter straight. I've seen one where it has a couple of bars and you just swing it like this. That's an unnatural move if you use your shoulders. You can't do that correctly if you use your shoulders. You have to manipulate the club. Your shoulders are on a tilt, and to make the putter go like this, you'd have to kind of tilt like this. This stroke, if I just push out and pull back in again, the putter stays on the line that it was originally intended to strike the ball. And you can see how I'm out, I'm back in again. See where I am up here? That's the logical place to end up in putting. You don't want to end up out here. That shoves the ball, it blocks, it makes the face have a tendency to stay open, and it puts skid on the ball when you hit it. When you hit a putt, let me get a ball here. Let me get this camera adjusted. Now when a putter hits a ball with a pendulum swing, coming down like this, if it hits it on the upswing, it has a tendency to knock the ball up in the air. Now, it doesn't necessarily put overspin on this, although it looks like it might. But still, the ball's up off the ground. When it lands, it's got friction against the ground. So, whichever way this ball is spinning, if it's spinning a little off axis, then when it lands, it's going to jump in that direction, because the ground's going to influence where this ball goes. It also takes the speed off the putt. You don't ever want to, that's chipping. You don't ever want to get a ball off the ground. Maybe if you're on the fringe and you're putting, you might want to get the ball over the fringe. But you can use a 3-wood or some other type of club to get the ball airborne so it lands. That's basically chipping. Putting is when the ball is struck. When the ball's struck, it lifts and rolls, and it still maintains ground contact, so it has friction to keep it rolling over. And that's what this putting stroke will do for you. I mean, not only that, you can putt the ball where you want to putt it. If you're a good reader, this will save you two to three shots a round, and you're talking anywhere from 8 to 12 strokes a tournament. For some people, that's a difference between 20th place and winning. On a bad day where you miss a lot of greens, you got to get up and down all the time. You got to be able to make these 5-10 footers for par. This is going to give you a greater percentage of a chance to make these putts. Now I've just shown you some video of this new putting stroke, and I'm offering you a chance to work with me to improve your putting dramatically. The basic problem in putting, as I said before, is the under move. Keeping the triangle moving through the putt. This right shoulder under move and the fact that the putter is hitting through the ball causes all your problems in putting. You have to have a great deal of talent and ability. You almost have to grow up. The best putters started early. Ben Crenshaw. Tiger Woods is a perfect example. The guy's been putting since he was 3 years old. You pretty much you can do well with this pendulum stroke, but you never are quite sure that it's going to work. And the reason is that the common fault of putting is still there. If you can eliminate the under move, hitting the ball, having your hands in a vulnerable position down here through the shot, you either have a tendency to block the putts, you have a tendency to release too soon. With this putting stroke, with this new putting stroke I have, you eliminate the cause of bad putts, offline putts, off-speed putts. The cause of that, as I said, is impact. Right down here. It's not back here. It's right down at the ball. This putting stroke eliminates impact and the under move. So if you can eliminate those faults from your stroke, then you can go on to a higher level in putting. Making a putting stroke instead of a swing is easier. It's easier to stroke the putter in one piece and have the ball roll right off the putter exactly where you lined up. It's easier to put your hands in this position and keep them there when you hit the ball than it is to take the putter up in the air and back down through and come through that critical zone right through the ball. I'm interested in working with players that have the long game and need putting to go to the next level or to bring their games back to the next level. The competition today is more intense than it ever was, and especially you have a number one player now who you're going to have to contend with every single time that he tees it up. Tiger Woods is probably the best pendulum putter of all time, in my opinion. He, as I said, he's grown up with this putting stroke. But you can improve on that. You can negate some of his assets, some of the long hitters. You don't have to be an extremely long hitter. If you're good on the greens, nobody's under par in the long game. You got 36 strokes on a par 72 to get on every green in regulation. Hardly anybody's doing that. The way you get under par is on the greens and around the greens. Either by chipping some in, saving par, making birdies. You can get under par in the short game. The long game, it's almost impossible to play under par. So the real golf game begins when you get to the green. And this type of a change gives you a more relaxed feeling on the green. You walk on the green with confidence instead of worry. When you have an 8-10 footer for par, it forces you to relax. You have to relax to make this putting stroke. You can't be all tense. Once you get all tense in the body, you have a tendency to move the putter at impact. And I believe that this putting stroke can take a player who has major potential and make him a major player. All you have to do is call me. I'm available. You may be able to go out and try this yourself. It took me 10 years to figure out all the wrinkles in this. And I can cut that process very short for you. I'm not cheap, and I don't want to work with somebody just once. If you don't like this, if you call me up, I come down, you pay my fee, you don't like it, chances are you're going to come out with a better putting stroke anyway, because I know the other putting strokes very well. And but I'm confident that you will like this stroke. This is so much different. You can't get this putting stroke from anybody but me, because I'm the only one that knows how to use it. I'm the one who invented it. I discovered it. I know the mechanics behind it. I know the feel. I know the secret. I know the secrets to this putting stroke. So give me a call soon, and I'll be glad to discuss it with you. I'll be glad to meet you anywhere. You have to pay my expenses to get there, but give me a couple days. 2 days I can have you using this putting stroke. You'll be putting the best you've ever putted in your entire life. Thanks.